They say mirrors only reflect what's in front of them. But that's not true. Mirrors remember, mirrors watch, and sometimes they let things through. The first time it happened, no one screamed. That's important, because real fear doesn't always make noise. Sometimes it just makes you stop breathing. Before I tell you what she was, I need to tell you where she lived. Because she didn't haunt a house. She didn't wander hallways. She didn't hide under beds or in closets. She lived somewhere far more intimate. She lived in the mirror. It started in a small apartment, one of those older buildings where the walls are thin and the pipes groan at night like something alive. The kind of place where you hear your neighbors breathing, coughing, arguing, and then suddenly not hearing them at all. The woman who lived there was named Aiko. Quiet, observant, ordinary. That's how these stories always begin. Aiko worked late shifts, came home after midnight most nights. The city was quieter then, safer in theory, but silence can feel heavier than noise if you're alone long enough. She had one habit. Every night before bed, she stood in front of her bathroom mirror. Not to admire herself, not to fix her hair, she just looked. She couldn't explain why. Something about seeing her own reflection grounded her, like proof she still existed after a long day of being invisible to the world. One night, as she stared, she noticed something strange. Her reflection blinked, half a second too late. At first, she laughed. Fatigue plays tricks on people. Everyone knows that. But once you notice something like that, you start watching more closely. The next night she tested it. She raised her hand slowly. Her reflection followed perfectly. She tilted her head perfectly. Then she smiled. And this time, her reflection didn't. Aiko's smile faded instantly. Her reflection remained still. Watching. Fear doesn't always come crashing in. Sometimes it creeps, quietly, logically. You explain it away. She blamed stress, overwork, lack of sleep, but she stopped standing in front of the mirror for long periods, just in case. If you're listening alone right now, you might want to keep the lights on. And if stories like this pull you in, subscribe to True Crime Files. We tell the ones that stay with you. Weeks passed. Nothing happened. Until the night she heard breathing in the bathroom. It was faint, slow, measured, and it wasn't hers. She stood frozen in her bedroom doorway, staring into the dark bathroom. The mirror reflected the hallway light, and in that reflection, she saw herself, standing inside the bathroom, facing outward, smiling. Aiko didn't scream. She shut the door, locked it, and sat on her bed until morning, shaking so badly she couldn't feel her hands. The mirror woman didn't knock. She didn't speak. She just waited. From that night on, Aiko stopped using the bathroom mirror entirely. She covered it with a towel, avoided reflections in windows, in elevators, in dark screens. But mirrors are everywhere, and she was being watched. The reflection began appearing in other surfaces, stainless steel, dark phone screens, Even puddles after rain, always there, always slightly wrong, smiling too wide. And then came the rule. She realized the reflection could not cross into her world. As long as Aiko didn't invite her attention, no eye contact, no acknowledgement, no lingering. Until the night Aiko broke the rule. She was exhausted, emotionally empty, lonely in a way that doesn't hurt loudly, just constantly. She stood in front of the mirror without thinking, and the reflection leaned forward. This time it spoke. "You look tired," it said. Same voice, same face, different presence. Aiko whispered, "You're not real." The reflection smiled wider. "I'm more real than you," it replied. That was the night the mirror woman stepped closer, not out, but close enough that Aiko could see her breath fogging the glass. After that night, Aiko stopped sleeping, because the mirror woman only moved. At night, Aiko began waking to find her bedroom mirror uncovered. She never removed the towel, never, but every morning it was folded neatly on the sink. Like someone had been careful with it, she installed locks, covered surfaces, even taped over her phone camera. But reflections don't need permission. One night she woke up to footsteps, soft, bare feet on tile, walking from the bathroom toward her bedroom. She kept her eyes shut. That was the rule. If you look at her while she's out, she can stay. The footsteps stopped beside her bed. She felt breath on her face, and a whisper, "You're warmer than I remember." Morning came. Aiko was still alive, but something was wrong. She went to the mirror and saw herself, still inside it. The thing wearing her face in the room smiled. Because it had finally switched places, no one noticed at first. Why would they? She looked the same, sounded the same, smiled at the right moments. But mirrors across the city began showing something strange. People reported reflections that watched too closely, smiled too long, breathed when they shouldn't, and sometimes, late at night, if you stand in front of a mirror long enough, you'll see her behind you, waiting. If you made it to the end of this story, ask yourself one thing tonight. When you look in the mirror, does it move when you do? Subscribe to True Crime Files for stories that don't end when the video does, and tell us in the comments. Have you checked your reflection yet?